At 6, I'm gonna start at mid, and so if you want to start at 6, Dr. Patrick, you'll be ready. All right, here we go.
Good evening. I am Dr. Michelle Patrick, the former education chair of the Louisville branch NAACP, and my co-moderator is Mr. Marlon Miller from the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty. I want to also introduce the new education chair of the NAACP, Ms. Michelle Pennick, a former JCPS principal. Ms. Pennick?
Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick. It is with extreme joy that I join you tonight, and how wonderful it is that the first occasion in this role for me to participate is an opportunity to hear from the best and the brightest that our community has in JCPS with the student unions, and I am excited to see and hear from students who have participated in the past and currently. So I wanted to personally thank everyone for tuning in, and I'm excited. Let's get started.
Thank you, Ms. Pennick. If this is your first time joining our forum, please mute your microphone to eliminate any background noise that may disturb our presenters. We have a question and answer period at the end of the presentation to enhance our discussion. Tonight, the forum focuses on raising awareness of Black student unions and its impact on the local school community. At this time, I would like Mr. Miller to discuss any links or to welcome any guests. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. We're so excited about what we're going to be discussing tonight with our Black student unions. We have a couple young ladies that's joining us tonight that's going to talk about how BSU's Black student unions have impacted their time both in high school and now one young lady at the collegiate level. But first, before I get started, let me honor any board members and also our Chief Equity Officer, Dr. John Marshall. Would you like to say anything tonight, Dr. Marshall?
Just real quick, I want to thank the former students and current student that is on here, and remind community that the NAACP, JCPS, DEP forums are now going on 6 years. This is something we believe is necessary. This is something we believe needs to continue, and it is simply another way to engage community and inform them of what it is that we are focusing on, need help with, need strength with, or have concerns with. But this is definitely something that I'm very proud of. And on behalf of Dr. Polio and the board, welcome to the NAACP Community Conversation and Forum.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall, for those opening words of encouragement. Also, do we have any board members that is present with us today? Okay, with that, we're going to get right into our program. We want to make sure we honor your time. So tonight, we're going to have 3 special guests with us. First, I'm going to introduce Brandon Ian, and he's going to be a DEP. He's our DEP specialist, and he's going to be talking to you about Black student unions. He's over our Black student unions within JCPS and our department, DEP. And then also we have Bianca Phoenix, who is a junior at Atherton High School. She's going to be coming before you talking about her experience with Black student unions. And then we have Lanasia Mason, who's a current junior at the University of Kentucky. So with that, I'm going to let Mr. Brandon start.
Thank you, Marlon. Appreciate it, and welcome everyone. I'm excited about this forum. The past couple of years, I have been on the opposite end of the camera doing the interviewing. I'm the interview. But again, I want to just welcome everyone tonight. I see a few of our BSU sponsors on, and I know we'll probably have some more jump on at the end. I just want to take a brief moment to acknowledge you all and thank you for the tremendous work that you're doing with our students. So I'm going to share my screen. I won't be before you too long, but I want to kind of set a foundation of my role as specialist within DEP over the Black Student Unions, kind of what I do and what you can expect from the BSUs, the benefits, etc. And then allow the floor for our lovely guests, Ms. Bianca and Ms. Lanisha. Give me just a moment, I'll share my screen. All right, so obviously today we are here to unpack the importance of Black student unions and associations. As I said before, my current role is overseeing the BSUs from a district level. And essentially what that means is being available, being a resource, someone that can and will provide support to not only our BSU sponsors, but the students as well. That also involves providing access and opportunities to sponsors and students. And that ranges from making connections in the community, bringing them different opportunities and resources to the classroom. When budget does allow, we can help and sponsor cultural learning experiences, or what I like to call non-traditional learning experiences, providing direct access to enrichment programs, and when some of those we'll talk about a little later. Secondly, is providing platforms and opportunities such as this for student voice. One of my babies, well, actually, first of all, I think the vision came from our Chief Equity Officer, Dr. John Marshall, but he has entrusted with me the Pillar podcast, in which this year is the first year of the student edition. And that has been a tremendous opportunity for me to get into the BSUs and continue to learn more about our students, hearing some of their concerns, what they are looking forward to, what the changes they want to see. So that has been an awesome opportunity for student voice there. Our Envision Equity, I'm sure many of you are familiar with that publication done in-house by none other than the Dr. Abdul Sharif. We have a student version of that as well, just offering another opportunity for students to get their voice out. The SSBIH, which is essentially the Student Code of Conduct, that handbook that each school community has, there's a place in there for students to voice their concerns, things that they may be experiencing in the schoolhouse. And I want to give a shout out to the director over at Culture in the Culture and Climate Division, Christy O'Bannon. She comes in and gives one-on-one hand training to the students, and it's kind of a teach one, reach one platform. So that's another great opportunity to expose our students to policies and just another opportunity to stand up for themselves and curate that student voice. Moving on, so in partnering with community-based programs, that's something that is dear and dear to my heart. I did a lot of that in my former role over the satellite office. More specifically, what I can give you an example of is inside the lines training. So making connections with community organizations like this allows us to directly bring in resources provided by the community for the community. We work a lot with the Louisville NPHC, that is the National Pan-Hellenic Council, or Black Greek letter organizations. and organizations like the Louisville Urban Chess Club. And then lastly, but not least, providing the schoolhouse and district staff with professional development opportunities. Specifically, the speaker series. There's this year's flyer up there. I know the text is pretty small, but I'll do a shameless plug here. Our next speaker series will be with Dr. Lisa Herring. That's on February 26th and 27th. So be on the lookout for that. So a little history, what I'll say tidbits about Black student unions. This is nothing new, right? The concept and ideology of BSUs have been around since the 1960s. You see there, the first was founded at San Francisco State University in 1966, with the focus and concentration on fighting against racial discrimination, systemic barriers to academic and social access, addressing racial injustices, creating a sense of unity and empowerment. Essentially, a lot of what is happening in our BSUs today. The look and feel may be a little bit different, but that premise is the same. With that, it spread, right? The organic nature of the organization spread, and that led to similar organizations forming at other various colleges and universities. And I believe here locally at U of L, that office was named the Office of Black Affairs, and that was active from 1969 to 1975. That is something that I recently learned, so I want to share that with you guys. Continuing with the expansion to today, that influence at the college level has trickled down to what we are now adopting or have adopted in the K through 12 landscape of BSUs. And so the modern role and impact, first and foremost, is cultural identity and awareness. And we are working on getting some questions added to a number of our surveys so we can try to track this data. But I know from a organic standpoint, if you look at the impact that students and faculty share about the BSUs, is that students develop a strong sense of identity and pride. The exposure to Black literature, music, and art, it goes way beyond what we typically and historically have learned in our classrooms, right? This kind of ties back to what I was saying about the community organizations. A lot of volunteers come in, gives you an opportunity to learn more than just what we're given in the classroom. These students are able to organize themselves. They lead and plan events and programs. I talk a little bit about the culmination projects that each BSU at the middle school and high school level experience, the Black History Month, cultural showcases, discussions around mental health, policies and procedures. Again, this is something that we put out, but the feedback that I've gotten a lot from the student version of the pillar is our students want to talk about mental health. They want to talk about things that are going on in their community, how it's impacting them in the classroom. And so shifting to community support, the BSUs provide a safe space where students alike and not too much alike, right, can come together, share similar backgrounds and experiences. And I have to make a note here. That's something that I get asked a lot, like is BSUs only for Black students? And that's not the case. Obviously, that is the structural design and the intentionality behind it. but it is not exclusive. The BSU provides means of self-confidence. It has increased sense of belonging with a number of our students. And we know that improves academic performance and especially emotional well-being. And of course, last but not least, it provides an opportunity for that teach one, reach one. I saw firsthand this when the first BSU I visited was at Butler. And that kind of sparked the student edition of the podcast. I was there to interview the seniors, which was their exec board, but the entire BSU stayed. The entire BSU stayed. They wanted to learn, they wanted to soak up that knowledge, get a little bit familiar with that process because they knew that they would be in that seat, right? So it's again, providing that peer-to-peer interaction. So our current BSU makeup, I wanna share with you guys the mission, right? And this is across all BSUs, and it's to help students strive for academic excellence, promote positive images of African Americans, and help students become an integral part of a school community. The vision. Our vision is to empower students through financial literacy, the pursuit of Black wealth, and a deeper understanding of Black history, preparing them to lead and thrive in their communities. And so right now we have a little bit over 1,300 middle school and high school BSU members. Roughly 27 middle schools, I believe it's closer to 29 high schools. And one thing that we try to, again, keep consistent across all BSUs is the consistency, right? And so that is two meetings per month. Now, each BSU can meet more than that, but for our sponsors, we encourage them to meet bi-weekly with the membership. And of course, that looks different across each school. Each school is also encouraged and supported in curating a culmination project. So we encourage the sponsors to let the students essentially pick what that project is going to be, right? We want them to have input. This is their space, their place. Some may not have a culminating project, but most all have a component of Black History Month where we're celebrating, you know, the nationally known, and a lot celebrate local heroes and heroines as well. One thing that I definitely would be remiss if I don't point out is the BSU's connections to our district's racial equity policy. You've heard me talk a lot about culture and climate. This is essentially what the BSUs do, right? Providing teachers with the knowledge and tools to provide students with ongoing opportunities to understand racial identity and its impact. These are things that are happening that I know I've experienced in just daily conversations. We have our sponsors send in essentially not meeting minutes, but timesheets that outline what each meeting is about. And a lot of what I'm seeing in these meetings is preparing our students, right? Giving them an opportunity to learn about implicit biases, learn how to peacefully organize, how to advocate for yourself, right? And a lot of the projects are things geared towards helping to identify racism, right? Whether that's personal systematic, structural, it's there. And increasing the cultural competence, right? And that goes for students and teachers. Not all of our BSU sponsors are African American, just like not all BSU members are African American. So I know for a lot of communities, it's a learning opportunity all the way around. Just continuing with the modern role and impact of BSU is academic and career readiness. So again, going back to those collaborations with different community organizations, different after school programs, mentorships, things that we are able to directly embed where applicable and or just provide as a resource of support. I have a couple of programs here and experiences. Our HBCU and U, that's a program led by Dr. Bridget Burpo. She is a professor at the University of Louisville. She talks everything HBCU, whether that's just the on-campus experience, the financial aid side of things. She's giving you a direct and intentional crash course on HBCUs. Another financial literacy, again, tying back to our theme and our mission, the Class Act Financial Literacy Program is something that we have offered as a resource. So members from Class Act come directly into the schools and they can literally a la carte and pick what types of financial literacy that they want to expound upon. Have a little show, I won't say show, but a slideshow for you all towards the end where you'll see a number of our students have been able to visit Roots 101. It is a phenomenal opportunity. I know there's also been programming done in-house and some members have come to the school to share with the Muhammad Ali Museum. We're working with a number of groups to provide scholarship information, ACT prep. We do workshops. It's just a robust offering of resources that our students have direct exposure to. Activism and advocacy, right? Again, helping students to address social issues within their schools and their communities. Helping students to engage. There's been a number of opportunities where we have helped students get to Frankfurt to voice opinion. Students come to Van Hoos, to board meetings to voice opinion. And then providing mentorship opportunities. Again, affording the opportunity to where we can come in, train, teach leadership, and have students peer-to-peer lead each other. I know before we get to this, I want to say I believe all of our BSUs do phenomenal things. Each school is different, each sponsor is different, each activity is different. So I don't want to say these are above them all, but these are just some good examples of what you can see within any one of our BSUs. If you see at the top there, shameless plug to my alma mater, Wagner. They've been doing some great things over the last couple of years. You see they have a trip to North Carolina planned this April. You see the list of colleges, universities they're experiencing there. Here at Butler, they're talking about they have group discussions on gun violence in Kentucky, the impact on the community, on Butler's community and families, how can they minimize it, working on plans to establish a committee within Shively. Again, that's, we're getting boots on the ground. I've been there to do a podcast. They actually have their own podcast that they do weekly, looking at PRP, right? They've done a number of great things in the community. Most recently, they had a food drive with the Hope Bus. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the Hope Bus, but again, you can just see how the BSU is a direct input, right? They're making connections in the classroom, and most of these groups meet after school, right? So they're getting that additional enrichment. They're also meeting and connecting with people within the community. There's an opportunity for Central to visit Berea, jobs, or they call it the JAG Fair, jobs after graduation, right? That's one thing that comes up in conversation a lot, is that college and career ready. Not all of our students are going to go to college. So we're having conversations about trade jobs, right? Things that you can still become a skilled professional in, if that college route is not for you. Westport, that goes kind of back to the Muhammad Ali Center. They do a CEO breakfast series, which I got to experience with Mr. Devon there from the Muhammad Ali Center, and that was just phenomenal, right? Having a space and place where you can put African Americans or individuals that look like you in positions of power, authority, people that are just doing great things in the community, right? We have to see it to believe it. And these are something that the BSU is able to provide direct access to. So I just wanted to shout those schools out, do a little highlight. But again, all of our BSUs do phenomenal things. So I want to provide my contact information. Should you guys know of any community organizations you think we could benefit from, or that they can benefit from, please reach out to me. I would love to get our students in front of them. Here are just some of our steadfast community partners that we do a lot with here. I'll share this flyer. This is our, I would say, flyer from a district perspective to just essentially promote the BSUs. This is something our faculty and staff can pass out, our teachers can distribute, again, to encourage membership. And I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and I want to take my last couple minutes and just share a quick video with you all. Just a second here. Again, just kind of want to give you guys an additional example of what a lot of our students are doing here.
Did you hear about the winter festival BSU was having? No, I didn't. What's BSU? You don't know what BSU is? No. He doesn't know what BSU is. He doesn't know what BSU is. Black Student Union encourages unity, inspires leadership, and asserts dignity.
BSU hosts different events such as Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, Asian Pacific Islander Month, Women's History Month, and Pride Month, and more.
As former President Barack Obama once said, we long for unity but are unwilling to pay the price. But of course, true unity cannot be so easily won. It starts with change and attitudes, broadening our minds and broadening of our hearts.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you all a visual, right? And hopefully you were able to see some of those things that we talked about, that direct impact, that community involvement aspect. I know you saw some of the college trips. You saw some students at Frankfurt. You saw the community engagement component. There's just a lot of different resources we have wrapped up in BSU. And I would like now to turn things over to our guests so you can hear how BSUs are currently impacting some of our students and what BSU has done for some of our former JCPS students. Bianca, I'll turn it over to you first.
Hello, my name is Bianca Phoenix. I'm a junior at Atherton High School, and I'm the vice president of Black Student Union at Atherton. So, a little bit about me. I have my own photography business. I used to be a theater kid, but I now do fencing. And in my free time, I like to read and hang out with my friends. Before Atherton, I was a student at Highland Middle School. Sixth grade was the year COVID hit for me, and it was awful. I had limited interaction with anyone as I'm an only child with only a cat and a mom in the house. Seventh grade came around, and that's when NTI became the real deal. I didn't get to know my classmates as well as I would in person, and it was hard, only being confined to the very limited number of friends that I got to make in my very small time being in person in sixth grade. I then saw an announcement for BSU online. I thought, why not? I have nothing to lose. I'm on a screen. I can't be embarrassed. I don't know when or if I'll ever see these people in person, which the social aspect of things was the reason why I hesitated to join while in sixth grade in person. Being in all advanced classes in middle school in a primarily white school at that, I didn't get to be around a lot of people that looked like me, let alone people of color in general. At this point, if I had a penny for the amount of times I got called white, I'd still be a billionaire to this day. Took a toll on me mentally. I was always in these white spaces in school and fencing and theater. But I was young and I allowed that peer pressure to overpower my sense of belonging. But then I joined BSU and I loved my first meeting. It was a pretty small group, about like 15 students with like 3 sponsors. It was amazing because I got to talk to new people without that embarrassment or judgment that my mind completely made up. I went from being almost stripped of my worth, sense of belonging, and sanity to finding an outlet to put those emotions into. A few months into being in Highlands BSU, I joined the district BSU, made a long term friend, and even helped raise money for a mural at Justice Fest. The networking, presentation, public speaking, and social skills that I learned were coming at me so fast, but I absolutely enjoyed every second of it. I have and still will continue using these skills to help me in many aspects, whether it be in school or in the real world. Graduating from middle school and joining a even bigger BSU at Atherton was even more inspiring. We had even deeper conversations. I learned deeper history and I had more people to relate to. I started to realize that my personality, what I do, how I talk, has absolutely nothing to do with the color of my skin tone. It makes me nothing less. I have even learned some of the systemic racism of why Black people call other Black people white. Without BSU, I would not have been as educated and open minded as I am now. There are just simply things that I do not learn in the classroom. I only get that watered down but yet so sensitive talk about slavery that everyone bats their eye to me when we start talking about. I hadn't really gotten to learn about culture until I got to AP World History. And even then, I only learned slightly about that culture before it was colonized and turned into what a white man believed it should have been. I am fortunate enough to go to a school that has many different student unions and clubs that everyone is encouraged to join. Being a part of Fellowship of Christian Student Athletes and Christian Student Union, being surrounded by people who share my faith, or being a part of BEA, also known as Beautiful as You Are, and surrounding myself with other females who are trying to improve themselves. It just fosters empathy and improves communication, helps resolve conflicts, build stronger relationships, and allows for better decision making by considering different diverse viewpoints within our school, ultimately leading to a more inclusive and harmonious society. The creating of Senate Bill 165 is just truly disheartening and insulting. Getting rid of DEI, but providing more mental trauma based help specifically to still ensure that safe, happy place for all students just doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth out loud. DEI in Senate Bill 165 can be defined as in 6A, a policy, practice, or procedure designed or implemented to promote or provide differential treatment or benefits to individuals on the bias of religion, race, sex, color, or national origin. And reading that, I was mind blown and also confused because I thought, when have I ever received extraordinary treatment just because I'm Black and a woman? From my knowledge and experiences, the world has been put against me from when I was born. In school, especially in the media arts pathway that I'm in, I've realized I'm going to have to work 1,000 times harder to get where I want to be than some of my other classmates, to do certain opportunities that my ideas and the credit for them are constantly robbed from me. I'm not perfect, but Lord forbid I make a mistake. The punishment and public embarrassment gets turned all the way up to the max. So, dare I ask for a safe place to share how I'm feeling? And I don't mean just a trusted adult, but I don't go to BSU or FCA or CSU or HSU just because I'm traumatized. I go because the skin that I was born with has put me into an oppressed community that I love to be around and support. Taking this experience away from future generations just sounds like chaos waiting to happen. History does repeat itself when it's not taught, and taking away DEI takes away culture and understanding. More closed-minded people who would not even fathom the peace that we are and unity that we are trying to strive for. As I understand that my voice has weight and power to lean in the direction of change that I believe is right, I want to thank everyone for listening and hopping on this Zoom today.
Thank you for that, Ms. Phoenix. And now we will have Ms. Mason, who's a junior at UK current.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Linasia. For starters, I'm a 2022 grad from DuPont Manual. I came into high school looking for some place of belonging, given that it was predominantly white school. I went to Western Middle, and I also went to Kennedy Montessori. So I'm kind of used to that Black culture and being around a more diverse group. So going into high school, I just wanted to find my place, given that my Magna was also centered around more white kids than Black. So I joined BSU, and it kind of just went from there. I became the secretary, then I became president. But during COVID, I joined the district-wide JCPS. I did Justice Now, I did Justice Fest, and that kind of really sparked that light in me. It's kind of really carried me from then on to now. I was able to meet so many different people. I have done so many things since then. So many doors have been open. I walked with Hannah Drake, and we unrevealed her project. And I've said poems, and I've been able to win a poem contest because of the people that I've met with BSU, and being able to be that space for other kids, especially after COVID, and they were coming in and trying to just figure out what high school is all about, we was able to give them a space where they could come and not only get used to people who look like them, but just feel like they have a voice, and that I could be that voice to the people, like our principals and things, because I had been there so long. That had been the highlight of like my high school, just because with personal things going on, still trying to maneuver through finding myself. It helped me a lot, just become more confident in who I am, and not, being a Black woman and just being so young and just trying to beat the statistic. I mean, Black woman, they think I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but I have exceeded my own expectations. I've exceeded what they think I'd be. So I'm more, I don't know, I'm so thankful to everybody who's played a part in giving me the space to do so. And now I'm at the University of Kentucky. I'm a junior this year, and I am doing more than I ever thought I'd do, if I'm being honest. I am the president of the National Association of Black Journalists. I am a resident advisor in my dorm. My GPA is a 3.9. I get 4.0s pretty much all semesters but one. I am a college ambassador, and really I am the face of a lot. And I take pride in that, given that it is predominantly white school. Again, I'm still continuing this same space, but I no longer feel like, oh, I'm the only Black person in the class. I enjoy it. I enjoy being the one that gets to just be the standard, because it's just me and nobody else looks like me. No one else is going to do it. And if there's nobody else to represent, I get to be the representation for myself and for people. Today I did a live stream. I'm an anchor. I'm the only Black person in my classroom, the only Black girl that'll ever be on air. So people get to see me and know that it's possible. And I know that's so cliche because we said it and so many people do it, but it really is empowering just to keep seeing. And I am so young. I look up to other people. People look up to me. So it's just something that I just take pride in, that I have had the confidence to just be strong in myself and be confident in who I am. And there's nothing I don't mean to sound cocky, but there's really nothing anybody can say to me that's ever going to make me feel like I'm less than who I am, less than what they want me to be. Because really, if we're being honest, I'm doing a lot more than some of them. Some of the people who put the laws in, they want to take away my scholarship. I have so many scholarships. I've never paid for college since I've been in college, and I don't plan to the next year. I'm in so many different groups that maybe next year I may not have the funding to beat that, but that's not going to stop me. That's not going to hinder what I'm doing. The fight is going to continue on, whether we have the ability or we have the resources to do so, because I'm here, I'm alive, I'm able, so I'm going to continue to do what I can do. And I have enjoyed just being able to keep going and keep doing things. And just that I can come back and speak to places like this who've helped me become who I am, and who's continued to be that place for me. There's so many people I know that I can count on from JCPS still to this day, even though I graduated, and I am just happy to be able to be here, to be me, and to just do what I do every day.
Wow. Thank you both for those words of inspiration. Man, whew. So with that, Dr. Patrick, I think now this is where we go to questions. So I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you open it up for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I'm sorry, I was on mute because I'm coughing and I have allergies. But I would like to say to both of you young ladies that it's such a pleasure to see you and hear from you. And we have a few questions for you and Mr. Brandon. I would like to start off with this. Mr. Brandon said that there's a accumulating project. Can you give us an example besides Black History Month of what one of those accumulating projects you all participate in?
Bianca, you want to talk about what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so I know for my school, with a collaboration of all of the student unions, we are having a culture fair, in our gym. Everyone's going to get to come down every class and just have fun. Like last year, there was a lot of dancing, a lot of educating people on their different cultures. This year, we're going to have food. It's going to be absolutely great over at Atherton.
So is that similar to like we have showcase of schools? Is that similar to showcase of BSUs?
Yeah, it's just a showcase of all our student unions. I know for BSU, we have 3 booths that we have divided our BSU into. So we have food, which is going to be awesome. We're going to have all kinds of soul food. We have music, which is even more amazing. We get a speaker. We do line dances. We educate people on music that not everyone knows about, not people everyone know about. And then we have history. So we're going to say a lot of not so known things just beyond Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and slavery. So that'll also be pretty cool.
Okay, real quick, if you got any questions for either Mr. Brandon or any of these young ladies, if you put them in the chat, I'll be monitoring the chat and get your questions asked at this time. So if you got any questions, you want to either put them in the chat or raise your hand, we can get those questions answered for you.
Okay, I have some more questions. How are the BSUs funded, Mr. Brandon, and how and if they are funded by the school, how is it sustained?
That's a great question. So each school will typically uses general funds. So there needs to be a request made anytime finances are spent. So for our hope, we hope that the school leadership is favorable of the events that each BSU is doing and will continue to allocate money towards this group.
In the chat, there's a question said, how do we get other students involved?
One thing that I think I took pride in is kind of just throwing it in their face, like just talking to them in the hallway, just asking them like, "Hey, have anything to do? Would you like to come?" Even now in college, it's a bit different because like everyone's kind of on their own, they're grown. But again, I think it's just having a conversation with them, even if it's not directly about maybe BSU, just asking them who they are, giving them some kind of sense of connection that may entice them to maybe be like, "Oh, well, maybe what more can I do or how can I get involved?" And then it kind of goes from there sometimes.
I know from my school, media presence has a lot to do with it. Every morning we have Atherton on there, which is like our morning announcements. And it's hard to push our BSU on that with so many announcements, and we get to choose what stories we do. So I even had to interview myself and the vice president and put a story together to get that out to the rest of the school. So media is definitely something that we have been using.
Mr. Brandon, I also noticed that you talked about school sponsors. Are all sponsors required to be employed by JCPS? And if not, can parents or other community leaders volunteer to be a sponsor for BSUs? I'm sorry.
Yes, so each one of our sponsors at the middle school and high school level are actual JCPS teachers. So they have gone through the necessary background checks, they have the necessary credentials. At this time, administrators unfortunately cannot be sponsors, but our teachers and educators can. From a volunteer standpoint, I know I've spoken to a number of sponsors who always welcome volunteers, and that's another way parent or guardian can get involved. There's a small process with that. Obviously, we want to keep our student safety top of mind, so there is background information and stuff you need to complete for that, but that happens at the local level at the school. A great question.
Hey, Dr. Patrick, one of the questions that the girls may be we can answer. It says, what are the benefits, and you girls talked a little bit about it. What are the benefits of being a member of a BSU for our students?
I think a benefit is just automatically knowing that you have a community of people like you that know what you're going through and can relate to you, automatically built into the school. If you're a freshman or you just moved to a school, it's just that having that automatic community and knowing that you have some people behind your back, that feels pretty nice.
To piggyback off that, I definitely say that. And then just the connections that you make and the knowledge you get. It's like, I don't think people understand how much, I mean, we know a lot, but there's so much more that we can learn, so much more that I was able to learn. So it really is a great benefit because knowledge is power. The more you know, the more better you can maneuver through this life. And I think that was a huge benefit to me just to, know more about myself or just about the people around me and things that I should know that I may overlook because I'm so caught up in just being a kid. So
I noticed that there is a hand up with Clarice Schill. I hope I'm saying her name right. Do you have a question, Miss Schill?
I do, yes. Hi, everyone. I'm actually a reporter with WHAS 11 News. Been listening to what you guys have been saying, and your wonderful leading women have really spoken on this as well. But I was just wondering if there is a generalized fear, or if there really isn't a fear with Senate Bill 165, and if anyone else is willing to comment on this.
I'm sorry, I didn't fully understand your question. What was it?
I'm sorry. I was wondering, your leading women here have already spoken on Senate Bill 165. I was curious if there is a fear surrounding that, or if anyone is willing to also comment alongside with them on this.
As the being a member of the NAACP, I can address that and tell you, yes, we are concerned. We are very much concerned. We need the community to come out and oppose these bills that impact our children's learning. And so at the end, I was going to give, and I guess I can do it right now, there is several bills that I was hoping that I could give the number out to individuals on here, the adult individuals, and I guess maybe if you were a student, you can do it as well. There is a line, a telephone number, 1-800-372-7181, whereas you can call, give your name, and you can leave a message for your representative and senator telling them that you oppose the following bills: HB 4, HB 388, SB 164, and SB 165, which are anti-DEI bills. You just give them that number and you say you oppose to it. You give your name and your address. I've done this. Also, there is, you can oppose House Bill 169 to make school boards elections partisan. You call them, you say, no, I'm opposed to that. And then there is HB House Bill 66. Say you're opposed to that one. This bill will eliminate the provisions that allow the Council on Post-Secondary Education to postpone approval of new programs at post-secondary institutions that do not meet equal educational opportunity goals. Also, there is the Senate Bill SB 45 that we support. This bill will increase funding for post-secondary education through the Kentucky Education Excellence Scholarship, Keys, and more. And then support SB 48 This bill aims to provide financial support to schools serving meals to low-income students while simultaneously promoting local agriculture and reducing food waste. It seems like to me all of these bills, and this is coming from Michelle Patrick, is all of these bills are impacting brown and Black children and poor children. And we need the monies for our kids to learn in these schools and also to further the education of students who are in college. It seems to me personally that these people are not concerned about the welfare of their constituents here in Kentucky. Does that answer your question, Ms. Leal?
It does. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to get back to our session because I really had a few more questions for these beautiful young ladies. And I need to know, I heard one of you say you started in middle school and now you are in high school. What did you see to be the difference between the two programs, if any?
The support behind it definitely didn't change. All my sponsors have both been great, middle and high school. Honestly, I'd just say the size of it changed from middle school to high school.
Miss Mason, did you have it in middle school?
No, ma'am. I just started in a high school.
Okay. Um, I want to ask this question as well. I learned something about Black joy. Is anybody familiar with that term, Black joy? Okay, good. So I don't have to explain it. I read something. Would you say that BSUs promote and support Black joy?
I would say yes. I think being in BSU kind of embodies Black joy. It's a different feeling to be around people like you and just everybody is kind of just lively. They're just kind of free. We're just kind of in our own world with one another. I think that was like a highlight of being president, being able to see other people be so happy and just enjoy whatever it is we may have been doing from conversations or events. So I think it's really a big part of like what makes our BSUs what they are.
Miss Phoenix, you have anything to say about that?
I would also agree that they embody Black joy. I just feel like there's just like that community part in it and just enjoying being with together, making memories that like will last forever in your head. I just think it's just awesome.
And Dr. Patrick, we got a question in the chat from Judy. It says to the girls, it says, did anyone in either of your families or teachers or others encourage you to get involved as you are in all the things you're doing?
I would say not necessarily. I won't say my family wasn't supportive of me and all I do, but I think I kind of took the initiative myself just to get involved in doing so. They just supported me through every step of the way. I find myself doing a lot more than I envisioned to, so I think it's just a me thing, really.
You, Miss Phoenix?
I think also it was on me to take that first initiative to join, but once I did join, I did have ample support from my leaders, from Mr. Van, even picking me to do Justice Fest, or just like people that have just taken me to keep pushing to that next level. I think I definitely gained support.
And I would be remiss if I didn't let each of you, before we go to the next question, tell us your goals. You shared with me earlier as we were talking. I think that's important if you share your goals and aspirations. If you want to go first, Bianca.
Yeah, so currently, a big goal that I have with AOA, I interviewed the superintendent, got to interview polio for AOA, trying to go bigger, better, trying to get more people into Atherton, interview them. And my end goal is to get Bashir. Long term, after high school, I want to go to UK, major in journalism, maybe minor in political science or videography, and go into the military, be a public affairs officer, which is like kind of like a journalist in the military, and then come out and maybe work for like a media agency or a news station.
So my ultimate goal would be to be a social media coordinator for the NBA. I really just enjoy basketball more than anything, and I love being able to get content. But a overarching goal would really just to make sure that everybody knows who I am. And there's so many people in this world, so things that I can do, and I want to be able to give back. And I'm doing right now, just do it on a higher level as I get older and can provide more to the people. I think that's my biggest thing, is to make sure that I help.
Thank you both for that.
I have a question here that I need to ask. Um, with For the past couple of weeks, we have seen things on WDRB about discipline and fights and all of that. Being a member of the BSU, do you think it helps to deter discipline problems at the schools?
I have a question. Can you clear? I'm not in high school. I don't know what may be
No.
going on.
Okay, but I was just wondering, being a part of something, did it impact your behavior, or does it impact the other students' behaviors? If did it reduce negativity of fights or all of that kind of inappropriate behavior that may have occurred in your school?
I would say, I think for my students, the people, I think it was a stepping stone for them to change their behavior. I think a lot of them was kind of struggling to be who they were, but also just try to fit into becoming better. I don't really think it stopped them from doing a lot of the things that they do, because that just was who they were as people. I
Mm-hmm.
think they kind of gave them a push, like, okay, maybe I can do things differently. Because we had a lot of talks about what we shouldn't do, how we can conduct ourselves, and just things like that.
I think
We've
at
got a,
my school,
go ahead, Bianca, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Even though VSU is widely available, it's not available to some and not all students, especially like being after school with transportation and the area that we're in. So I feel like for the people that can and do take that initiative, I think they do educate themselves. I think it does help them maybe change to be a better person. But the fact that it's not getting to every student that maybe needs BSU or wants to go to BSU, I think that's where the conflict still stands.
Bianca, is there anything the district can do to help that situation where we can include those children that have to ride a bus?
I mean, I think it'd be great if we could have more time in school, in the building, maybe even busing to have BSU. But um, yeah.
This is for Ian. With her talking about that particular thing, this question is, Ian, let's say there's a high school closer to me, but I don't go to that high school. Can I go to another BSU? Is that possible? Or has that ever been thought about?
Well, yeah, that is something we have been encouraging a lot of this year, is the crossing and blending of BSUs. So, like I say, if you're not able to make it to your own school's BSU, like, can you be welcome into another? And that's I can't 100% say it's happening right now, but that is a conversation that we have started to have.
I noticed that we have these beautiful young women here, Mr. Brandon, but I have a question. Where are the males?
It's a great question. I will say our BSUs are, we do have a lot of male presence, but fortunately this time it was the ladies' time. They stuck their hand up first, and here we are.
I have a question from Max. Do you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. I am here from Manual High School. I'm reporting for Manual Red Eye, and I would like to know if, what can schools do, like BSUs do, to fight against Senate Bill 165? I know that, the phone banking and things like that are necessary, but to kind of push further, what can BSUs do, by themselves?
I think one thing that'll be important alongside of just calling and trying to push on an administrative level, I think it's important for BSUs to not lose hope, to just kind of continue with their regular programming and continue to strengthen what they have going on and what they want to do. Just because, we never know what may happen. And regardless, we have to just keep being us and keep doing what we want to do, what we're made of, so that, the mission and the fight never stops on our end, even if there are barriers that may prevent us from doing certain things.
Yes, I agree. We have to keep hope. And I just feel like really making your voice heard. I mean, phone banking, emailing, maybe even protesting, but in a peaceful way, because we don't want to fall into the stereotypes that are already being put on us. I feel like that's also important.
We also have a question, Maureen, in the chat that asks, are there any sponsors on that we could hear from?
We do have one. Erica Glenn is from TAP.
Okay. Would she like to speak?
Hello, everyone. Hold on, I'm trying to get my camera. I'm sorry. All right, so I'm not sure what the question is.
Would you like to speak about being a sponsor?
Okay.
With,
And my
with
camera's doing
Advantage?
something crazy, so forgive me of that. So this is actually my first year being the lead sponsor, but I've been with BSU at TAP for 2 years. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with TAP. That is the alternative schools for teens that are mothers or becoming mothers. And I would say, as far as our group has helped our girls have more of a sense of normalcy, because again, they're not at a normal high school, and we are pushing them just to be more leaders and to be positive and to step up and not be so nervous speaking in public. So a lot of times if you come to our programs, a lot of those are student led, because we want to get them in the habit of speaking in front of their peers and also in front of the public. But we have a great group of girls. Now, what's different at our school, because yes, we don't meet after school because of course our students have children. We have a club day, so we meet first thing in the morning. So we meet at 7:30, from 7:30 to 8:10 at TAP, and we talk about current events a lot. But lately we've been working on our Black History program, which we'll have next Friday, and so they've been excited about helping lead the charge of the program. And so yes, that's what we do at TAP. And we went to Frankfurt last year when they were talking about the Crown Act. So that was something new for them because they had never been to Frankfurt. So that was a new experience for them. And they still talk about that now, that experience of going and, like you say, talking about being involved with the Crown Act and seeing the other BSUs, and then just feeling a part. They didn't feel like people looked at them like, oh, those are those girls that have babies. They felt a sense of community being, within that group at Frankfurt. So we definitely appreciate Mr. Van, Mr. Brandon for always reaching out and helping us at TAP, and just being that community partner, and everybody else that helps us. So I appreciate that.
I also see a middle school, a BSU sponsor on here, Miss Bethany Wright. Would you like to speak?
Sure, absolutely. And I actually worked with Bianca when she was at Highland, so it's just such a joy to see her and keep hearing from her. I think at the middle school level, like Bianca said, especially being at Highland, which is largely white students, it's great for the students to have a place just of camaraderie and fellowship with people who have similar experiences, sometimes different, and able to bond in different ways. And I also agree with Miss Glenn, the importance of it really being student led. I exist as a support for them to help them access resources and to kind of facilitate. But this year, for example, the students wanted for their culminating project to do a Black History podcast. They agree, as I'm sure all of us on this call do, that Black history should be something we learn about every day, not just in February. And they wanted to create a resource that can be used at Highland and at other schools, but created by students, to just educate on the folks we don't typically learn about when we're in school. And especially at the middle school level, I always, advocate for my students, when you get to high school, make sure that you take a Black history class. That was the most impactful for me when I was in school. And, that's something that's not really offered as much at the middle school level, but they're taking that on themselves to educate me, and to help educate our whole school. So it's just a really wonderful program. And again, lots of great support system throughout the district. And it's just so wonderful to see our amazing students continue to go on and advocate for themselves and others and do great things.
There are so many questions pouring in, and I'm also reading one that it says, can BSU students can make their parents, can y'all make your parents aware of your concerns and ask them to be vocal and active? Does that occur?
I think yes. I think my mom did a great job of like anything I may have been involved in, she would repost or just tell other people, or just we had a lot of parents who were willing to help us or support us in any way. So I think that's the best thing that they could do for us, just given that they know so many other people that we don't, older people, so that kind of helped us out in a way.
I think we most definitely can. I've also been really blessed to have a mom who will support me in anything and will talk about hard things with me and educate me on some things too, because she's been on this earth way longer than I have. And then it's just like my dad, he's not so willing to talk about all those things. So I just feel like it's hard, and it also just depends on the parent at the same time.
Are you all well, I'm Bianca. This is a question for you because I think they have a student union in college. They normally have a student union in college. Do you all participate in both of those as well? Do you participate in the student union of that school as well as a BSU?
Yes, ma'am. I'll be honest, I'm not as active in the BSU here just because I have so many other things that's taking my time. But there is a BSU, and then there's also an Underground Perspective, which is kind of like a BSU. Both are two Black organizations that follow the same kind of idea. And I do take my time to join them. They were kind of the first groups that I met, the people that I encountered as I came onto campus my freshman year.
At my school, we kind of only have Black Student Union, but there are just so many other student unions that I can go to. I often pop my head into Hispanic Student Union. I'm often in Christian Student Union, along with Fellowship of Christian Student Athletes, and also in BEA. So we don't necessarily have multiple like Black clubs, but like we just have a lot of different student unions of many cultures.
Well,
Well, it has come to the time that we have used up our time for this evening. So our 15 minutes for this. Is Miss Pennick still here? Is she gone?
no,
She's
no, I think she had to jump off. She had
okay.
to get.
Okay. Well, this concludes our questions and answer sessions during the program. Before we finish tonight, I want to turn it over to Mr. Miller to speak to you all about the upcoming forums that we will have in March and April.
All right, but I would be remiss without just applauding Mr. Brandon and you two young ladies for this information that we got tonight. I think from the chat, you can tell everyone was engaged and excited to hear the great things that you are doing and that you are gonna do. So we are so proud of you being JCPS students. And as you can see, people, JCPS is doing great things and DEP is doing a lot of great things under the leadership of Dr. John Marshall. Would you like to say anything in parting words, Dr. Marshall?
No, I really just like to thank the student and former student for the work they're doing and the stuff they are going to do for our people, for this country and this world. That is very, very important. And please continue to do this work. I will say, as long as we've been doing this BSU work, it is always a relief and a reward to see some of the outcomes and inputs. And you two ladies really epitomize that. And I really, really appreciate you all. God bless you, and please keep going. I am always a call away, and we'll come running and support in anything you do, because we need you to take the baton and run further, faster, and braver than my generation and generations before have had to, and continue to do the work.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall. And again, thank you, young ladies, and also Mr. Brandon. So we also thank the great turnout tonight, and we would like to see you come back on March the 20th. We're going to be talking about family engagement and the importance of that. We know when families are engaged with their students, the students do better academically. So we encourage you to come back on March the 20th and also April the 24th, where we're going to have Matt Anderson, and he's going to be talking about the code of conduct and some student discipline, some things like that. So we look forward to you coming back on both of those days. And we were just excited for you to turn out today. And again, thank you, young ladies. Continue to do great things and make us all proud. And with that, we will end this our discussion tonight. And everyone enjoy the rest of their evening. Thank you.
Before we go, one last thing. I also want to shout out all the sponsors. I know you guys are just overwhelmed with just your daily task, and to pick up another role in leading and being a resource for our students. Just can't thank you enough. I know it's trying, we ask a lot, but really grateful for the work and time that you all are putting into our students. Thank you.
And before we end tonight, I want to encourage each and every one of you that are on this forum tonight to contact your legislators to oppose and support those bills that I spoke of. And here again, that number is 1-800-372-7181. On behalf of Mr. Miller and myself, thank you for participating tonight. We hope we have provided you with much needed information. Good night and be safe.